just go ahead and start with that. Okay, welcome everyone. I just want to say I am absolutely delighted to be here today to talk about blockchain and how our company, AIC, is incorporating it into our newest innovation that we call the aviation closing room. I really hope that my layman's viewpoint of blockchain will not horrify any of you all who are actually experts in this room about blockchain. Do we have any blockchain experts in the room? Thank goodness, okay. By the end of my discussion, I hope that you all will know that you will be able to close faster and your documents will be the most secure that they can possibly be in the world today. For those of you who do not know AIC, we are the largest aircraft title company in the world. There we go. Repeatedly, we hear the industry need to simplify ownership in the closing process. To this end, AIC has continued to innovate. We were the first to offer what we call tracking services in our Vectors program, for example. And as you know, all of you in this room, transacting and closing high-value deals primarily with a digital process is not the norm today. Not in real estate and not in aviation transactions. The norm is more old school, requiring many emails, overnight deliveries, phone calls, and as good as these emails and FedExes are, this is an inefficient process. Each of the intermediaries involved in closing an aviation transaction, the banker, the broker, the attorney, the title professional, all of them need a better way to collaborate, to eliminate bottlenecks, to close a deal with what I call grace and speed, and ultimately to keep the resulting bundle of deal data and documents secure. We think the better way to do this is the aircraft closing room. As an overview, the closing room will be a collaborative central repository of transaction data and documents for each discrete transaction and party, backed up by all that blockchain has to offer: simplicity, speed, and security. Specifically, in the closing room, the parties will share and sign all relevant documents on one site, accessible only by the authorized parties to the transaction. As you will see later in the slideshow, the closing room, being a central location, will facilitate the gathering of multiple party signatures on a single document. This will make the multi-sig dance flow. With all relevant data and documents in one location, the closing room will greatly speed the transmission of data and documents both to you and from you. The closing room will provide the highest level of transmission security available, as distinct from the current practice of emailing documents and data. No more spoofing of emails, especially emails with wiring instructions. I don't know if any of y'all know of this problem, but I will explain it later. The key benefits, again, are enhanced simplicity, speed, and security. The closing room is your mothership, helping you close with grace and speed. Blockchain is the component that will secure your data inside the closing room. The result, as they say in Vegas, is that what happens in the closing room will stay in the closing room. So now, what is blockchain? For the purposes of this discussion, and from, as I said, my layman's perspective, blockchain is simply the most secure way of tracking, storing, and protecting the integrity of digital data that is available today. Generally speaking, digital data is now stored on a server or on the cloud, which is someone else's physical server, by the way. These servers are single points of failure. They are honeypots, if you will, that attract hackers. Think Equifax, Target, Wells Fargo. So if I may be permitted an analogy here, instead of storing whole documents on a single server, the location of which can be known, the blockchain shreds digital data, storing each shred on multiple servers. In blockchain language, this is called distributed ledger technology. As it is very difficult, probably impossible, to hack millions of servers at the same time, the addresses of which are unknown, what is stored on the blockchain is now vastly more secured than a single document on one local server. An attack on a single one of these multiple servers cannot compromise the integrity of the data that is there. In blockchain terminology, we say the data is now immutable. You will hear the words immutable and distributed ledger technology over and over again. So in this context, when I say immutable, I mean that data cannot be later erased or compromised. It cannot be adulterated in any way. Importantly, however, and this is very important, if there is an error, the data can be sequentially updated, thus corrected, in essence, keeping a never-ending, immutable historical trail. So what this means is whoever changes a document will be known, as will the exact change that that person made and when that change was made. There will be a trail. When data is stored on the blockchain and you need to access it again, the shreds are put back together, so to speak, with a key, similar to the PIN on your bank account. I will not discuss public and private blockchain keys here, but I will give you this very important tip. Never lose your key. Everything's gone if you do. Nor will I discuss cryptography, game theory, in particular the Byzantine generals problem, hashes, peer-to-peer technology, or the solving of the double accounting problem. If you are interested in learning more, I recommend a book by Andreas Antonopoulos called The Internet of Money. So I know for most of us here, and will you confirm that for me in my introduction, blockchain is a new idea, and for most it is associated with Bitcoin. To most people, Bitcoin has sort of a reputation. Many of you may even think that blockchain is Bitcoin. Yesterday, I actually had a friend ask me, "Holly, do you own any blockchain?" She meant Bitcoin, of course, but like most people, she confused the two. So you'll find that everywhere. But I want to be very, very clear on this point. Blockchain is not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is simply the most well-known use of blockchain. Blockchain is like the layered protocols that make the internet work. It is simply another layer, a layer that exists in the background that is so ubiquitous it is hidden. One does not need to know how the internet and emails work to use them. The same will be with blockchain. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is digital money, what you may have heard called a cryptocurrency. Crypto coming from the word cryptography, currency from money. So as I like to say it, in the copy and paste world of the web, digital money could not exist. It could not have existed before blockchain. And you can readily see why this is so, because money, if it could be copied and pasted, would have no value at all. Bitcoin uses this immutability factor of blockchain, the cryptography that underlies it, to make Bitcoin or any other digital currency work. No more copy and paste, and voila, you have digital currency. So think of Bitcoin as a service enabled by blockchain. Think of Bitcoin as an app made possible by blockchain, just as Amazon and eBay are apps that were made possible by the internet. Bitcoin is an app, albeit a killer app, made possible by blockchain, because what is secured by blockchain protocols cannot be copied and pasted or tampered with. And by analogy, just like digital currency, neither can the integrity of your blockchain secured data and documents be compromised. So let me say this again, we are not talking about Bitcoin here, we are talking about blockchain, an internet protocol, the best security the world has today, not a digital currency. Blockchain technology, and again, by this I mean secure, immutable storage of digital data, is now being used by IBM, Walmart, Oracle, Visa, Microsoft, just to name a few. They are all in on blockchain, and so are we. I believe the agenda today said I was supposed to address this point, so I will. I want to mention that blockchain by itself cannot reshape an aviation transaction. What will reshape an aviation transaction is being able to secure the related information, the data, the documents, in such a way that they are tamper-proof. That is what blockchain can do. Will regulators accept this? I think the answer is inevitably yes, as regulators will have an interest in having accurate and unadulterated information regarding what they regulate. I do have a few examples of current regulatory interests for you that I'll just read quickly. I find it kind of fascinating. The National Conference of Commissioners are considering amendments to the UCC. In Missouri, the question of blockchain and firearms tracking has come up. In Maine, it is the issue of paper ballots for elections. In Illinois, they have said that the opportunity for efficiency, cost savings, and cybersecurity deserve a legislative study of the benefits of blockchain use with public databases. And in New York, there's consideration of a blockchain registry for residential mortgage notes. So it's the inevitable future. Now, blockchain in our aircraft closing room will allow AIC to offer its clients what we call, and this is another key word here, a fully auditable, quote-unquote, proof of the transaction. In blockchain language, an AIC client will have an exact and immutable, quote-unquote, proof of state of the transaction at all times. This is not accurate, but think of it as an immutable image or photo or snapshot at any one point in time of the transaction room. In blockchain language, this is called a hash. You will hear the word hash a lot, not hashtag, but hash. This is what is called a hash of the closing room, recorded on the blockchain that is, quote, proof of the state of the room at closing, enabling later proof that no document in the closing room has been changed, altered, adulterated, or tampered with in any way. Again, this is the highest level of security available today. From my perspective as a business owner, I see blockchain as the future, the best way to secure and protect the data of my clients, and I see that it might enable AIC to deliver new services to our clients in the future. For example, imagine being able to track engines, frames, propellers, or to prove aircraft maintenance records, something that we were talking about before. What if you had absolute verification of the location of an aircraft at the time of sale? What if this brings forth new methods of financing aircraft? Perhaps it will speed the transfer of funds at settlement, especially in an international transfer. And interestingly, it will probably increase the availability of aviation title insurance. And since I just said that, I'd like to add as an aside that Avsure, the only aviation title insurance company, will be joining with Fidelis to offer title insurance on international transactions in the very near future. Now, others may use blockchain in aviation to what they call tokenize or crowd sell an aircraft, selling an aircraft to investors who could earn income from the investment via tokens that trade like currency. Talk about a new twist on fractional ownership. I can't even imagine what the FAA would do with that. I don't know. But from your standpoint as a client of AIC, I hope you will see the closing room as the fastest and best way to close a deal, and now, with blockchain behind it, as the most secure. If for any reason, be it tax, regulatory, or compliance, you need to refer back to this immutable record, it will always be there for you. You will have all the backup you would ever need. Now let's look at the closing room quickly and just the details of how it would work. You will receive an invitation from one of our closing agents to enter the closing room. This is where you would put your name and log in. Once you enter the closing room, you will find a dashboard. This dashboard will hold all the information about the aircraft that you might be closing. Now, importantly, if you happen to be a broker, all of the aircraft that you might be working on will be included on your dashboard. You don't have to go to one dashboard per end number. You would be able to select any deal you wanted to see and immediately see what was required. If you happen to be a bank, all of the liens or anything that you might be dealing with will be included and listed on your dashboard. The same thing if you're an attorney, any deals that you were working on with us, all of the pending deals would be listed on your dashboard. On the left side, you will see that it says your attention is needed. You will notice that we have highlighted the area that says Go. It is beside the area that says Submit your bill of sale. You will click that area, and then you will be asked if you are ready to complete the bill of sale on the end number of the aircraft that you have in the closing room. When you click Yes, your bill of sale will be automatically filled out from the information that your closing agent has already entered. These pages are simply for you to review and make sure everything is okay. The next area will be the buyer's information. You will want to confirm that the buyer's information is correct, and if an address or anything needs to be changed. Now, you cannot change someone else's information. If something needs to be changed, you have to call the closing agent. Here on the next page, the seller's information will need to be confirmed, so you would look that over. And once you click the next button, the bill of sale will be created. At this time, you submit the bill of sale for signing. AIC uses eSign Live for all of our electronic signatures. You will get an email from eSign Live, and you will click to go to Documents. As you can see in the electronic signature area, I hope you can see, just click the little box and your name will be filled out, and you will have automatically filled out the bill of sale with a few clicks of your computer. I know that doing that easily means a lot to a lot of people. You will get a confirming email back from eSign showing that the documents have been placed with the closing agent at AIC until they are moved to the FAA for closing. Hopefully, as you can see, the closing room will give you the efficient and accurate entry of data, and the blockchain will back it up. I do want to say, I don't know how many of you have experienced this problem, but for one area that we've always been concerned about relates to wiring instructions we receive. Normally, this information comes by email from the clients or the brokers. We've often had issues with someone trying to change that information or spoof an email or fraudulently send us information in some way. So currently, we have the closing agent call to confirm wiring information. But now, in the closing room, we are having a two-step authentication process inside the closing room so that we know who is sending us the information. Okay, now I'm confused on my slides. Here, I think you will see the next form that requests you fill in your wiring instructions. And after you fill this out, you will request to be sent a code to your phone, and you will get a code sent to your phone. And you will place this code into the verification area. As soon as you do this, we will know that the wiring instructions you have given us are correct, and specifically who sent the information to the closing agent. So no more spoofing. This also provides another interesting benefit. As most of you all probably know, your phone or mobile device is hackable, not the most secure way to close. But now your phone and mobile device can be the best way to close, because you will use that to sign into the closing room and to transmit your documents that way instead of with an email. So for brokers around the world who use mobile technology without firewalls, this makes doing business from your mobile device, which I think most brokers do, as secure as using your firewalled office device. So for the next transaction that you do, please consider the blockchain-enhanced AIC closing room, and we welcome you to the inevitable future of aviation transactions. Any questions?
Do we have any questions for Holly? Yeah, there's one in the front. Yeah, Ivan, just go.
Yeah, I wanted to type it, but it turns out it's quite hard to explain what I want to ask. Basically, if you have a login and password, which obviously is shared in some way with the user, then somebody else can access that computer, maybe by just going to the computer and seeing that someone forgot to log out, and then you get access to all of the transactions that are there, and more or less can do whatever you want with them. Is that, how do you protect the whole system against that? Because it's really easy to hack into a login and password.
Well, as I said, especially with regarding blockchain also, you have to protect the key to your front door. But we will be doing the two-step authentication process, which will be going back and forth with other communications. And although I can't technically answer your question, I can tell you that it will be more secure than emailing those documents back and forth, which are readily hackable.
From Andrew, microphone's just coming to you.
What would the cost be, please, of doing this per transaction?
Of the cost of a transaction or the cost of?
The cost of using the closing room, I think, Holly.
There will be no additional cost to you. Our AIC services are fee-based, and they will stay the same.
Sorry, what is the fee, please?
I can't hear you.
What is the fee, please?
The fees vary depending on what you are asking for. If it's a title search or a document escrow, I can get that information to you. I don't have it in my head.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, Jim.
They are quite reasonable, I will tell you that.
Holly, as I've gotten older, I think I've come to learn there's no such thing as a hack-proof system.
Yes.
What makes this one the system of the future?
Well, that is exactly the point that IBM and Microsoft and everyone is addressing. It is theoretically at this time impossible to do this, to hack something on the blockchain, because as I'm trying to express in my layman's language, instead of being able to find a single server that you know the document is there that you want and you go after it, all you're going to find somewhere, if you're lucky, is one little piece of that document and just hacking one of the servers. Let's just, for the example, say that one document is stored on 1,000 servers. You will find 1,000th, if you break into one of those servers, you won't compromise the integrity of the entire document, and the likelihood of you being able to find the 1,000 servers and hack them simultaneously, which it would require to put the document back together, is just highly unlikely. But I did, and still in a way do, share your concern about that question. But it seems to be Bitcoin gets stolen all the time, but Bitcoin doesn't get, the blockchain doesn't get hacked. It's difficult for me to explain. The blockchain seems, by people much smarter than me, to be easily the most secure and least hackable security protocol in the world, in the universe, easily. So the way I understand it is, it would just be harder for me to put something back together that I shredded through a really good shredder. Especially if somebody took those shreds and put them in 100 trash cans. I'd just never figure it out.
And also, you'd have to get each trash can to agree what the other one.
Yeah, it's more complicated. It's more complicated than I said it, which is why I referred you to elegant technological reading. But
one final question, which I think shows that the difference in the audience. Are you planning to use a private blockchain for this?
We are at this time. I did not go into the discussion of the difference between private and public blockchains, and I won't now, but yes, we are planning on using a private blockchain at this time.
And I think the final question, what price will Bitcoin be at the end of the year, Holly?
I'm going to take a guess at that. I'm a fan of Bitcoin, actually. So, the end of the year, I'll go for my lucky number, $23,000.
Okay, you heard it now, buy Bitcoin. I think it's about 8,000, and you can't go wrong. Thank you so much. Thank you.